Why did I start realizing reality at only 8 years old? I was young and foolish, but this one event really changed things for me. And because who could have thought that this one thing would even happen? Because it did, and it left a mark. Maybe quite literally. But I've lived through it and I learned from it, and I am RJ, and this is my story of how I learned my actions have consequences. It was on a random weekend day in 2013 or 2016. My family and I were getting ready to head for the grocery, and I was looking for something to wear. I was choosing between a pair of denim shorts or a pair of leggings with a skirt on it. And because I was feeling cute that day, I chose the latter option. Once we were all ready, we headed for the grocery store. And while at the grocery store, me and my siblings were playing. I have 3 siblings. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and an eldest brother. Me and my sisters were playing a game of spanking each other's butt. The rule was if your butt was exposed, another person could spank it. And the way to counter that would be to protect your butt by sitting down or never turning around. And me and my sisters were playing too much. My father had to scold us. He gave us a look and he had to ask us to stop, and we eventually stopped. And after doing groceries, we headed home and we had dinner. After dinner, my dad left the table and he went to his room to do work, and he left us instructions of cleaning the table and getting ready for bed. And because we didn't listen, once he left the room, we didn't even listen. We started playing the same game of smacking each other's butt. And we were in the living room when we were playing, and I thought there was a couch behind me. I felt that there was a couch behind me, so I sat down. And all of a sudden, we heard a loud sound, and for some reason, I was on the floor instead and not on a couch. And so it turns out I wasn't sitting on it. I did not sit on a couch. I sat on a small glass table. I was on the ground, and there was a printer on the ground as well, on the glass table. It was on the glass table, and because it made a loud sound, my father came rushing out of the room, and he saw the mess, and he got mad, and he gave us a scolding. After he scolded us pretty well, he went back to his room and just gave us a warning of finally just cleaning everything up and just behave. So that's what we did. I grabbed a rag, I started wiping the table, and for some reason, all of a sudden, I hear a loud scream from behind me, and I turn around. It was my brother looking at me. He was pointing at my bottom saying, "Blood, blood." I was like, what was going on? So I felt my behind, and I looked at my hand, and they were wet from blood. So I walked to my father's room. I spoke to my father and said, "I have a wound." He said, "Where?" And I lifted up the skirt part of my leggings, and there it was. There was like a 5-inch cut on my right butt cheek, exposing the flesh. It was all blurry after that. The next thing I remember, me and my dad were in a taxi heading for the hospital. And in the taxi ride, it was pretty silent. He asked me to lay on my side so I don't put pressure on my butt. And he told me, "Did it hurt?" I said, "No, it didn't hurt," and neither did it hurt when he was scolding us because I was sitting on my butt. It didn't hurt at all. It was quiet after that, and we finally arrived to the hospital. And at the hospital, they treated me. They gave me like, I think 14 stitches, and we were back in the taxi heading back home. And the ride back home was pretty silent, and so my dad broke it and said, "The money that was paid for your treatment was this month's food. Was supposed to be for this month's food." I couldn't say anything after that. And the next day I remember we were back at home, everything was cleaned up, and I was back in bed. I laid in bed thinking about it. Where are we getting money now? How much did the treatment cost, and what would have happened if I had just worn the thick pair of denim shorts? Little me did not realize her actions had consequences when she broke a table, and neither was it when she got a bloody wound on her butt. It was when she realized her actions affected others. I was young and dumb, but I realized the value of money then, and so learning about being the reason of my family possibly starving did not sit well with me. So I was up late at night thinking about it, and I was thinking about my actions and what I could have done differently. But it happened anyway, and that was how I learned that my actions have consequences. And some people may say that my father had no reason to put the blame on me like that, but I don't blame him at all, because I had to realize that my actions had consequences sooner or later.